What's up, YouTube? It's your boy, Crazy Head Craig, Reacts, coming back at you with another video. Today, we finna be reacting to I Got a Makeover and made the boys drool all over me. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Ever since I was a kid, there was only one thing I wanted to do. Hands up! You can't escape me now, you villain! Oh my god, Sarah. Act like a girl, will
And
you?
make sure you hit that fat
I
like
am acting
and
like a
subscribe
girl.
button.
My stepbrother pulled my cape off. You can be the victim. You can't be the hero. I don't wanna. I wanna be a hero. Go play with your dolls like a proper girl and leave us alone. That was my very first memory. But later, I had other enemies. My mom and my stepsister Ella. What are you doing? Something I should have done a long time ago. You're a 14-year-old girl, Sarah. It's time you acted like one. Look at Ella. She's such a perfect, well-mannered girl. My sister and I might have looked alike, but we could not have been more different. Her room looked like some stupid unicorn had puked glitter everywhere. Oops. These were one-of-a-kind autograph posters. They cost a fortune. I thought I was gonna pass out, but just then, Mom grabbed me and started painting my face in makeup. After she was done, she pushed a mirror in front of me. I didn't just look horrible, I looked just like Ella. Then Mom thrust a pile of disgusting, frilly clothes into my hands and told me Ella had kindly given them to me. At dinner, my stepdad patted me on the back. You look like a lovely doll, as all girls should. The next day at school, as soon as I got to class, the girls glared at me. The class bully even whistled at me and told me to come and sit with him. Another guy jumped up and told him to shut it. Just then, Preston came in. As soon as he realized I wasn't Ella, his jaw dropped. I told him about my makeover, and he simply said, I'm not complaining. I told him to shut up and share his book. And immediately, the guy who wanted me to sit with him jumped in. He slid his book across the table and said he'd tutor me. Man, I'm the teacher's assistant for this class. I've been tutoring you for months. I don't need your help. Go away. Then, thankfully, the math teacher walked in and told us all to settle down. Then he asked us to solve a question on the board. All the boys sank in their seats. Weaklings. This was such an easy one. The boy next to me whispered, Calm down. You don't need to be smart when you're so pretty. The girl sitting in the corner called me a show-off. The teacher looked confused. Ella, you want to solve a math question? I rushed to the board. Being smarter than everyone else was so thrilling. But a girl stuck out her foot and I tripped over. As if that wasn't bad enough, my dress got caught on a nail and ripped. I ran out of the class. This was the worst day of my life. Suddenly, I felt a hand on my shoulder. It was Preston. You'll show them all one day. I'll always be there for you. What? What was happening? I was so confused. As soon as Preston pulled away, I ran out of there. That evening, I decided I'd clear the air with him. Sure, he was my best friend and all, but he knew there was nothing like that between us, right? Just as I was thinking this, the door flew open. There stood Preston with flowers and a box of chocolates, and was that a love note? I tried to drag Preston inside the room, but he didn't seem to care. He simply gave me a box. I opened it. It was a collector's item. Dating him didn't seem like such a bad idea now. Will you be my girlfriend?
What?
Before I could reply, Mom jumped out from the shadows. Yes! Yes, of course she will! She isn't going to find anyone else! I looked up at Ella, half expecting her to laugh at me, but she just stormed off to her room. A year went by, and even though I was still annoyed with my makeover, it had really made me popular. Half the guys in school were drooling over me, and the other half over Ella. One day, a rich kid came up to me and said he and his buddies were arranging a special party for his friend who loves superheroes. My friend has a crush on you, and we want you to be the damsel in distress. I'd rather sell my soul to the devil. His dad's a millionaire. We'll pay you $500. She'll do it. I turned to see Preston grinning from ear to ear. By senior prom, I'd acted as the damsel 10 times, and Preston and I were still dating. On the evening of prom, I was sitting in my room. I was just about to put my book away and get dressed when Mom entered the room. No daughter of mine is going to prom wearing that! She said that Ella wasn't going to the prom at all. It was up to me to make her proud by wearing Mom's dress from her prom. I gave it to Ella years ago because I never thought you'd be asked to the prom. Go get it from her. Loud music was blaring from Ella's room, so I went in. She was sitting on her bed and pointed to her bathroom. Mom left it in there. I went into the bathroom, but suddenly she pushed me inside and locked the door. The last thing I heard her say was, Preston is mine. He will always be mine. I hammered my fist on the door, hoping someone would hear, but no one did, at least for an hour. When the music abruptly stopped and I started to yell again, finally, Mom opened the door. I rushed to the prom and found Preston and Ella slow dancing to some random song. I literally roared as I ripped Ella out of his arms and smacked her across the face. How dare you? Preston is my boyfriend! To my shock, she started telling Preston that this is what I wanted. She says she never wanted to date you in the first place. It's me who really loves you, babe. You had a fantastic evening with me, didn't you? Didn't you?
No!
Preston just stood there looking dazed for a minute. Then he finally turned to Ella and yelled, Ella, this was a horrible thing to do. I love Sarah. Then he grabbed my hand and pulled me in for a kiss. Ella stormed out furious. As I kissed him back, I realized that for the first time, I was completely sure I loved Preston and could trust him forever. But my joy was disturbingly short-lived. I woke up the next day to Mom's screams. I jumped out of bed, afraid that someone had died. She was sitting in the kitchen, crying her eyes out. I asked her what was wrong, and she pulled away from me. You horrible, horrible child! You traitor! Did I raise you like this?
What? Like
She
what?
finally showed me. You want to go so far away to study how to design stupid machines and guns? What about Preston? Just marry him like any sane girl would. How did she find it? I'd hidden it. There was only one person who could have done this. Ella. I was surprised you hadn't told Preston either. Preston! I knew Preston would be thrilled for me. We had planned to apply together. He could convince my mom too. I grabbed the letter and ran to his place. To my surprise though, when he opened the door, he looked devastated. I'm so sorry, babe. I'm just so sorry. I had no idea what he was talking about.
For what?
What happened? What's wrong? I didn't get accepted to the college we applied to together. When Ella called this morning, I knew I'd have to tell you. I still didn't understand what he meant till he clarified. We agreed to go together, remember? I know you can't go if I don't, right? For a minute, I was in shock and then asked if I could go alone. Suddenly, he was yelling. I thought you loved me. I told him I did. After all, just last night, he had proof that I could trust him. Prove it. Rip up this letter and forget about it.
No!
There will be plenty of opportunities for us at our college. When Ella found out that Preston and I were going to the same college, she ran out of the house and literally never came back. A week after she left, I came home and found Mom passed out on the couch. I rushed her to the doctor, who said that her heart was broken and she needed to be taken good care of. When she woke up, she started crying. He's gone. You took all our
His heart was broken.
with his son. You didn't even say why. After my stepdad left, Mom became my responsibility. I had to join a college close to home to constantly check on her. At first, I thought she'd lay off the advice, but boy was I wrong. As soon as she recovered, she started nagging me to make sure Preston was always happy. Don't let him leave you, Sarah. Take care of him like he's a baby that needs constant protection. But I got really busy with studies and didn't pay too much attention to what she said. Weirdly enough though, Preston slowly started skipping class after class because he was working. And when I complained to Mom, she made me do all his work. He's just being a man and focusing on earning. You should be grateful and help him out. But not long after, Preston came home and started yelling. The house was a mess. You're never around to do chores and I have to eat out every day. I was furious. I was always busy with his assignments, and it's not like he ever gave me any of the money he earned. Just as I started to yell back, he broke down in tears. I'm so sorry. I've been fired. My stupid boss thinks my jokes aren't funny. Can you believe it? Me? Not funny? Oddly enough, I could. But after that, Preston just couldn't get another job, ever. When I told Mom I'd have to work, she said she knew just the job for me. The next day, I found myself in her friend's store. As soon as I stepped in, my boss jumped over to hug me. Then she took me on a tour around the place. She said I was supposed to help customers find outfits. The very thought of staying hours on end in this place horrified me. But with my mom's bills and my college fees, it seemed like the only option. Besides, Preston would be thrilled. I called Preston and said I had great news for him. Then I took Preston out to treat him to a very fancy meal at his favorite restaurant. I've got a job! That's nice. What's the surprise? Suddenly, I lost it. All the years of anger boiled over. How insensitive could he be? I jumped to my feet and threw a glass of lemonade at his face. Your lemons have gone bad, sir. I told him I was done with his selfish, self-centered, good-for-nothing
Yeah!
Then I stormed out. But when I got home, I was stunned to see my mom waiting for me. As soon as she saw me, she started screaming at me, saying I was the worst girlfriend ever. Poor Preston. He even rejected Ella for you. And you? What did you do? You humiliated him! She said I absolutely had to beg for his forgiveness because he had already told her
What?
he would never take me back. I laughed and said I didn't need him anyway. Then I went to bed, feeling oddly thrilled. The next morning when I woke up, I realized I was late. I ran out yelling at Mom that I was late for work. As I ran into the store, I ran straight into a customer. No! I tried to apologize and was surprised to see that I found the face vaguely familiar. I was right because immediately the guy laughed and said, Supergirl Sarah! He introduced himself as Chad and reminded me that we had been in school together. Before I could talk more, a pretty young girl came over and dragged him away to continue shopping, and he yelled, She's my sister! Chad kept looking at me and smiled as they shopped, and every time he did, I felt butterflies in my stomach. Suddenly, Preston barged into the store screaming, Sarah, my love! Where are you? The minute he saw me, he got down on one knee. My darling, I forgive you for being rude yesterday, and I will take you as my wife. I will cherish you forever.
No!
Marry me. My mom jumped out from literally thin air and started cheering and saying I absolutely had to accept. She said if I didn't accept, I wasn't welcome in her home anymore. He almost put the ring on my finger without waiting for a reply. I snatched my hand away. I pushed him and tried to get back to work, but he refused to listen. Just lay off her, man. I turned to see Chad glaring at Preston, who looked shocked at first and then angry. Oh, so this is why my lemons have gone bad, huh? You dumped me for this guy, didn't you? In minutes, Mom started yelling at me. When I finally managed to kick them out, Chad was also gone. I snuck home later than usual to avoid Mom, but when I saw the light on in Ella's room, I was really shocked. Ella hadn't been home for over a year. I pushed open the door and there she was on her bed, making out with Preston. I couldn't believe my eyes and started yelling at them. Preston just shrugged and said my mom had given them her blessing since I cheated on him first. Yes, I did. After what you did to this poor boy, I told him to ask Ella to marry him. And she, like a real sweet girl, still loved him enough to agree. I couldn't believe my ears.
She don't even know him!
And she was driving me mad too. Besides, since perfect little Ella was back, I decided I was done with this family. The next day, I moved out. To my surprise, when I got to work, I found Chad waiting for me outside. I was so embarrassed about yesterday that at first, I turned away and pretended not to see him. But he jumped in front of me and simply started talking about when we were younger. He even reminded me of when I wanted to be a superhero and my stepbrother wouldn't let me. Not much has changed. It won't till you make it change. As soon as Chad said that, everything seemed to fall into place. It seemed like I had the motivation I was looking for all my life. I needed things to change, and I would change them. I walked into the store and told my boss I was done. Chad then encouraged me to find a job relevant to my field. And then right after I graduated, Chad and I got married. He finally told me he had loved me since we were kids. Preston just got there first. Years passed, and we had a daughter, Rose. I thought life would be peaceful now, but I was wrong, yet again. On Rose's 6th birthday, the doorbell rang. When I opened the door, I found Mom standing there. With her was a boy who looked around Rose's age. Mom started to cry as she told me that Ella had gotten tired of Preston and had run away. Preston then kicked the two of them out. He said we were too expensive to keep. I let her inside, and when she saw Rose, she started crying harder as she pulled her in for a hug. Your mom was the best child I ever had. She never complained. I was so unfair. Well, to get to the point, Mom lived with us after that. And when Preston found out I wanted to adopt his son, he came to my house to take him away and swore to stop me. But after a long and painful custody battle, Chad and I officially adopted Emmett, Ella's son. A few years later, Mom left us. And despite all the drama and pain she brought into my life when I was a teen, in the end,
Bye-bye!
she began to see the error of her ways. In fact, her last words to me were, I hope Rose grows up to be a strong and independent woman like you, Sarah. That will bring me peace forever. Now Rose is 13, and as we snuggle in bed, watching videos on her favorite channel, I look at her and remember Mom's words. I'm doing my very best.
She doing her very best, man. That's what you gotta do. You gotta do. But mate, if you like that video, make sure you hit that like button, that fat subscribe button. And till next time, hey!
I just pulled a 2020 out, yes sir. I just did another video, yes sir. I'm just thankful right here, living in my purpose. Positive vibes trying to change the world. Oh.